phosphorus has been described by various authors in different way. Each book, the description of phosphorus is varies. So for the students, it is very difficult which is right and which book to follow, which book we should not follow. Here, I will tell why it happened like that. When Hahnemann proved phosphorus and other drugs, he found it has got lots of symptoms and it's very difficult to remember. So he felt there must be a need of an index to mathematica, and there is the beginning of repertory. So from the time of Hahnemann, the repertory is evolved to a Kentian repertory, synthetic repertory, Murphy's repertory. So there are so many repertories nowadays. The modern mathematica authors, what they have done is they have taken the rubrics and they try to describe from rubric to mathematica. Actually, Hahnemann felt that mathematica, it is so vast, you need to have an index so that repertory may help in short. But present authors from the repertory, they have gone to mathematica. They made a imaginary interpretation from the rubrics and they tried to evolve various symptomatology of a drug. So in this video, we'll try to understand what Hahnemann has described about phosphorus personality, and also we'll see what other authors have contributed about the phosphorus. Phosphorus part 2 is a continuation of the earlier video of phosphorus part 1. In phosphorus part 1, we have studied about phosphorus element. We studied phosphorus in relation to periodic table of elements. We have studied about history of phosphorus, various sources of phosphorus. We studied about sphere of action of phosphorus and many clinical indication and keynote symptoms of phosphorus we have studied in part 1. In this video, you can see phosphorus along with sodium, calcium, magnesium, potassium, like that. Phosphorus always combine with other elements. Whether it be a calcium, magnesium, iron or numerous others, it has never been alone. Similarly, a phosphorus individual, whether he is mingling with natriumure, whether he is mingling with kalicarb, whether he is mingling with magnesium, whether he is mingling with calcarea individual, is always open. Whereas natriumure person, she wants someone should come and speaks to her, then only she'll speaks back. That is a typical of natrium. She is very gloomy and moody. Magnesium, he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He'll be very neutral. He wants to be harmonious in relation. That is typical of magnesium. Potassium or Kali is very rigid, very dictatorial, is very authoritative. That is a Kali carb. Whereas calcarea carb, she is so scared, she is so conscious what others are observing about her, like that. But phosphorus is not at all like that. A phosphorus person, even though he is surrounded by many type of individuals, he is always reactive. He is hypersensitive to sensory impressions, including to the noise, light, music, odors and touch. They are emotionally hypersensitive. They are so diffused, just like a phosphorus which gives light. They are diffused throughout the human body. The personality of phosphorus also, they are so diffused. They are the outgoing type of personality. There is no limit for him. Regarding the doctrine of signature, phosphorus is known for giving off light. Whenever it is getting exposed to the air, it gives light. Similar to a phosphorescence light, people who benefit from phosphorus, they radiates with an extroverted nature. Like a match with a phosphorus tip, they emit light but tend to burn out quickly. They are sensitive to light, noise, They get exhausted fast. One more doctrinum of signature of phosphorus. A plant which has deficiency of phosphorus, it becomes thin. It has long stem. It will have weak roots. When there is a phosphorus deficiency in the plant, it will grow thin, it will have a long stem, and it will have a weak root. Similarly, the person who needs phosphorus seems to be a very thin and tall, and they become easily fatigued. They get easily tired. That is another doctrine of signature of phosphorus. We'll see about phosphorus personality or phosphorus disposition. In one word, we can describe phosphorus means lack of boundaries. When a person who doesn't have any boundaries, it will have a positive impact as well as negative impact on him. They are so diffusive. They are so radiant. Phosphorus individuals are so loving. They are the people who are fond of making new friends. They are the people who always wants to travel, like our lycopodium, like our carcinosin. They are the people who's always joyful or so-called ecstasy, excited. They are very bubbly, extroverted. They are the people more of outgoing type of individuals, opposite of natremure. They are more of introvert, but phosphorus is more of extrovert type of individuals. Phosphorus loves company. They are the people, most of the time they are so open. They are like a transparency to others. They trust so much, others also can trust them. They sparkles with intelligence. They are highly creative. They have full of enthusiasm. They are so bright and excited. But at the same time, they are highly anxious. Phosphorus person who believes in relationship. He is the one who preserves the relationship, like magnesium. He is a person who enjoys communication. He cannot keep quiet. But it is not at all like our lachesis. His communication, that is his energy. That is its extroverted nature. They love talking. They love exchange of ideas. Very often they are open-hearted. They are the individuals who have curious nature, a sensitive nature. They want to know what is going on. A child will curiously observe you and will go and imitate. They have got very good general knowledge. The phosphorus person is highly intelligent, like our Naxomika, like our Silesia. They are the people highly refined. They get excited emotionally, and they are not at all bothered about self. They are the person who is more bothered about others. Phosphorus individuals are so quick. They perceive very fast. They are the people who very easily understand. They comprehend very easily. Just opposite of Brita carb. Just opposite of Calcarea carb. They are very slow to learn. Brita carb very slow to understand. But phosphorus, they are so fast and quick in perceiving. They have a clairvoyant state of mind. Even in the high temperature, the phosphorus person, the phosphorus child is very active. They know that something is going to happen. They have an intuition state. They can feel others' anxiety. Most of the time, the phosphorus person is an innocent person. Not at all cunning like lycopodium. Not at all foxy like tarantula, but he is highly extrovert, he is highly innocent. There is no secrets in his mind. That's been most of the textbook. It has been described. Phosphorus is like a child, just like a newborn child, just like a small child. Their mind is so calm. Their mind is so fresh. There is nothing called ego. There is nothing called superego. Nothing of psychotic nature. Some purely azoic nature you can see in Phosphorus individual. They are idealistic. They are the people who are optimistic. They are the people who are artistic. A Phosphorus person may be a very good singer. A Phosphorus person may be a very good painter. A Phosphorus individual may be a very good dancer. A Phosphorus person may be a very good poet. They have a glamorous life. He may remain silent if he doesn't like your behavior. Just opposite of natrum and ignatia or staphysagria. If at all a natrum person doesn't like your behavior, the natrum person will become gloomy. Natrum person become moody. Or ignatia person may get irritated. Or staphysagria person may be feeling insulted. But Phosphorus is not at all like that. He may remain silent and he'll do his work. A Phosphorus person can be a very good politician sometimes. Not the present politician. A typical leader. A Phosphorus person can be a very good sales agent. He gets highly impressed by others. He'll convince others very easily about his sales deeds. He is full of enthusiastic. So this is a typical description of Phosphorus individuals. We'll see a Phosphorus as an artist. As I've said in the beginning, a Phosphorus can be a very good singer. A Phosphorus person can be a very good dancer. He can be a very good painter. He can be a real politician who's fighting for the nation. A Phosphorus person can be a very good sales executive. If at all he is a singer, his songs will be most of the time romantic songs. It is not sad songs, it is not depressed songs. So most of the time it is in relation to romantic songs. That is a Phosphorus individuals. He is very tolerant. He accepts your suggestions. You give him some suggestion, it will be like that. But Phosphorus will accept that. Whereas Naxomica, he may not accept. A Lycopodium individual, he may not accept. A Natromure may feel bad if you give suggestion. Polycarp may get irritated with your suggestion, but Phosphorus, he'll accept your suggestions. Generally, he wants to be with everyone, but during his artistic activities, he wants to be alone. Maybe while doing painting, he wants to be alone. Or while writing a poem, he wants to be alone. He doesn't want others' disturbance during that time. He wants solitude for his artistic endeavors. Phosphorus loves colors. He loves painting rather than drawing. They love bright colors. They cannot tolerate dull colors. Phosphorus individuals are the sweet talkers. Phosphorus is highly sensitive individuals. A sensitive is too broad terminology. A sensitive at the mental level, they are sensitive at the physical level. You got many drugs for sensitiveness. An Natromure is very sensitive. A Staphysagria is very sensitive. Naxomica also is very sensitive. So the sensitiveness is too broad, but we'll see what way Phosphorus is sensitive. It has been described that Phosphorus experiences the world like a young child. They are highly sensitive to external impression. they are sensitive to both pleasant and unpleasant stimuli. A prosperous individual is like a sponge. They absorb all the impressions. They absorb all the impressions, immediate environment, and they experience waves of emotions, both pleasant and unpleasant emotion they experience. If you see, they are highly sensitive to noise. They are highly sensitive to odors. Any strong odors or perfume, they'll get vertigo. They are highly sensitive to light. Especially they are highly sensitive to electrical changes in the atmosphere. They get panic episodes from flashing of lights. Sometimes they'll become trembling at the sight of thunders. They are highly sensitive towards the feeling of others. It is not only that they are sensitive about himself, at the same time they are highly sensitive for others' suffering. This is how the sensitivity of Phosphorus is different from Natramure, different from Naxomica, different from Ignatia. Sympathy in relation to Phosphorus. Many textbooks describes Phosphorus as highly sympathetic individuals. Sympathy for others. We have causticum, we have Natramure, Phosphorus. Now, what way a sympathy of natrum, a sympathy of causticum, and sympathy of Phosphorus differ? Phosphorus, their sympathy is more of responsive. They have the sensitivity of others' wavelength. They are able to feel feeling of other people. They may give company for them. They may warmly touch them. They may rub them. They may support them. Very often they are the reactive listeners. Wholeheartedly they enter in their other's life and they support and they console them. They freely putting the interest of friends above personal concerns. They sympathize with others. They can feel the other's pain. They become so generous. They become so helpful. They give their time for others. This is typical of Phosphorus. They may give money. They may give food. That is a uniqueness of Phosphorus sympathy. At the same time, causticum sympathy is little more higher than Phosphorus sympathy. Causticum, with the sympathy, they will fight. They will fight for the justice. If they see somebody suffering, they are not only bothered about that person, they will try to correct everything. They have that idealistic attitude. They cannot see some injustice happening to his friend or injustice happening in the society. They are more to the broader level, whereas Phosphorus has sympathy at the individual level. Causticum is sympathize for everyone, not only to one person. A Phosphorus will have a sympathy to one person, a sympathy to a friend, one or two person. But causticum is sympathy towards the community, to the society. That's how causticum sympathy is different from Phosphorus sympathy. Natramure sympathy is more of emotional level, a sympathy at one-to-one relation. That is more of natrum. At the thermal level, you can differentiate sympathy of chili is causticum, sympathy another chili is Phosphorus, sympathy with hot patient Natramure. Natrum is more of gloomy, sad, depressed, but Phosphorus is more of extroverted behaviors. That's how we can differentiate sympathy of Phosphorus, sympathy of causticum, sympathy of natrum. We'll see how the Phosphorus behaves in the workplace. He may be a politician, he may be an artist, he may be a singer, he may be in the IT field, he may be a teacher, he may be a sales executive. Whichever field he works, he'll have a full of energy, full of enthusiasm. He'll be a full lively. He cracks jokes. He'll have full of keeping the healthy relation among the colleagues. Most of the time he remains uncorrupted by a corrupt world. He'll be the most idealistic to the extreme in the workplace. He'll do his work sincerely. And he'll keep the positive energy in his workplace. Most of his or her life revolves around interpersonal relationship in the work area. If he is a politician, he will work for the humanitarian causes. If he is a sales executive, he will sell his goods to the maximum and he will get a reward for that. He has the ability to sell anything he believes in. The Phosphorus person is very impressionable. He needs only others' appreciation and he needs some attention from his friends and colleagues. Once you appreciate him, once you give attention to him, he brings out the best out of him. That is a typical Phosphorus individual in the work area. The boss will really impressed about him. Juniors and seniors will have a liking him because he'll keep a positive energy in the work area. Only thing is, he become highly anxious in the work area. He become highly restless in the work area. He moves continuously from place to place. He cannot sit or he cannot stand still for a moment. He'll friendly shake hand. He'll say thank you. He'll say hello. He'll say good morning. All the expressions will be there in Phosphorus individual, even at the work area. We'll see about the anxiety and fear of Phosphorus. The Phosphorus is generally prone to be a very anxious individual. He becomes more anxious when he is under pressure. He is liable to fear problems. There's a fear of impending diseases. She feels that she is going to get cancer. There's a fear of ghost like Natramure. There's a fear of spirits and is likely to believe on them. There's a fear of alone. There's a fear of thunderstorms. Fear of future diseases. His fear of death of family members. He has fear of death of his friends because most of the time they have that clairvoyant behavior. They get some kind of intuition that something bad is going to happen to the friend, or something bad is going to happen to his family members. I have seen several cases of such individuals who says, "Doctor, I feel something bad is going to happen to my family. Something bad is going to happen to my friend." Has such typical mental state or typical nature you see in Phosphorus. Because of that, they get easily frightened. whenever they read or hear some diseases, they get frightened. A little reassurance, they feel comfortable. The prosperous individuals who are highly startled easily, maybe a noise, maybe a horn, maybe of slamming of doors, maybe of thunderstorms, they get startled easily. Their whole body shakes to the noise or closing of the doors. We have many drugs like that. We have got aconite, we have got stramonium. Startled easily. Ignatia also has got that symptom. They have that anxiety associated with apprehension when alone. They have anguish and uneasiness, especially when they are alone or whenever they sit at stormy weather. They have fear that something is creeping out from the corner of the door or somewhere something is creeping out from the corner of the rooms. These are the various anxiety and fear of Phosphorus. You need to differentiate calcarea carb. Calcarea carb individual also has got fear of cancer. You need to differentiate kali carb. Kali carb individual also has got fear of death of family members. You need to differentiate aconite for frightened and startled easily. You need to differentiate arnica. You need to differentiate fear of ghost, natramure. You need to differentiate fear that something is creeping out, like all those delirious remedies like stramonium, belladonna, hyoscyamus. Fear of thunderstorms, you need to differentiate natrum carb, rhododendron, sepia. As we know, Phosphorus means diffusion. Phosphorus is unable to make close, intimate friends because everyone is friends. Everyone he needed. And most of the time relations are more of superficial level because everyone is friendly. Nothing in person. Everyone he wants. Is so diffusive. If at all she loves someone, she is totally devoted for him. She surrenders her life to him. He is the focus of her whole life, like our natramure, ignatia, staphysagrera. If a relation begins to wave, she may strikes out angrily and desperate attempt to keep him, or else she will dissolve in tears. And if at all she has got emotionally disturbed in her relationship, and she'll have a difficulty in eating, she'll have a difficulty in drinking. And most of the prosperous individuals have a glamorous life. She will wear colorful dresses to attract her partner. Most of the time, she'll be seductive. So that is the typical of Phosphorus in love relationship. We'll see about the Phosphorus in sexual life. As a person is so glamorous, person is extrovert, person is so diffusive, person is full of energy and enthusiasm. He has an appetite for emotional stimuli and physical thrills too. Very often he is prone to have a strong crushes, at times getting involved in romantic adventures. Because of his nature in such a way that he is involved in some or the other romantic adventures. There may be a history of multiple marriages or numerous associations or relationships. Whenever you have multiple marriage individual, whenever there is a multiple relationship individuals, we should think one of the remedy could be a Phosphorus. One more drug comes very closely to this is lycopodium, fluoric acid. They too have multiple relationship, multiple partners, and we need to differentiate between lycopodium and fluoric acid and Phosphorus. Lycopodium individuals are so much bossing over, which you never see in Phosphorus. Lycopodium individuals are more of dominating nature, which is never seen in Phosphorus. Phosphorus is very friendly. Phosphorus person is very polite, whereas Lycopodium will have that ego. And Phosphorus is a chilly and Lycopodium is a hot. Whereas fluoric acid is again hot patient and Phosphorus is chilly patient. Fluoric acid is cunningly desiring for sex. He will stand at the corner of the street and look at the woman walking around. That is a fluoric acid. He is highly perverted individual. His aim is only for sexual gratification. He will never have emotional bond. That is fluoric acid. Whereas Phosphorus individual will involve in multiple partner with emotional bond. It is not just a time pass for Phosphorus individual. And that's how we can differentiate fluoric acid. We can differentiate Lycopodium. You can differentiate Phosphorus whenever it comes to a multiple relationship. A Phosphorus lady sometimes may have nymphomaniac. A man can be satyriasis. All this thing happens whenever there is a marital instability. Otherwise, they have healthy, normal sexual relationship. Whenever the personal relationship is strained, whenever there is a marital instability, and they are prone for multiple relationship, they search for new gratifications. That is how the Phosphorus individuals indicated. The Phosphorus means a diffusion. It will not stay in one place. Just like phosphorus get evaporated, phosphorus will catch fire. Similarly, a person is so diffusive. Everywhere they will be. They are the people more of extroverted nature. They like company. They want to be with many people. They are so sensitive. They are the people who get easily convinced easily. They are the people who can convince easily very others. And they are the people, very often the person can be a good representative. A person can be a good businessman. He may be a very good politician who can really find problems of the people. The person who is highly sensitive, the person is highly sympathetic for suffering of others. He can feel their pain. Phosphorus, if at all a phosphorus patient comes to your clinic, how he will come? He'll say, "Hello doctor, good morning doctor, good afternoon doctor, good evening doctor, thank you doctor, okay doctor." So this is the way the phosphorus person will interact with a doctor. There is nothing to hide. He is so transparent. He is like a mirror. He will tell everything. So every homeopathic doctor will like this kind of person. He need not ask 100 questions. He will never boss over you like Lycopodium or like Naxomica. But he will be very calm. And very often when they will be sitting at the edges of the chair, they are keen in observation. They will try to observe you. A child of phosphorus will look at the doctor and will go back home and imitate the doctor. Many times the parents will tell, "Doctor, now you are auscultated. No, same thing. This boy will go and do at home." So they are the people who are very, very sharp. They are the people who grasp the things very easily. They comprehend very easily. And it is not only that, they will sit at the edges of the chair and they will be having restlessness, their leg will be shaking sometimes, and they are more than a patient. Now, I have seen many times patient will come to me, "Doctor, how are you? How is everyone at home? How is the kids? How is the family? How is your parents?" So this is very hardly you see some patient to speak to a doctor like that. So they are usually a typical of phosphorus individual. They will ask about the doctor. They want to know whether doctor is fine. "Doctor, you are very good." Like that is a description of phosphorus. They are the such type of individual. Phosphorus people are, most of the time, they are the artistics. They can be a very good singer, they could be a very good painter, you could be a very good poet. Their expressions will come in that way. They are the people who are really genuine, and everyone appreciate them, and everyone like them. So every homeopath doctors will like such kind of patient. We saw Phosphorus at various levels. Let us see Phosphorus as a patient. If at all a patient who is a typically Phosphorus, how he behaves when he come in contact with a doctor. Good morning, doctor. Hello, doctor. Can I come in? These are the typical introduction about him. As soon as he comes, he'll shake hand or he'll say good morning while entering. At the same time, while leaving, he'll say thank you, doctor. A Phosphorus patient is very cooperative and very responsive. Will watch everything you do for him. If a Phosphorus child, the child is highly observing you, what all things you are doing. And same thing child will go and repeat at home. If patient on seeing him again, he says, doctor, I forgot to tell you something more. So when such individuals who will be telling everything in details, you need not ask much about anything. They freely express, and they are like a very transparency. Nothing is there to hide. That is the typical of Phosphorus. Whereas Tuja individual, they withhold. They never tell everything. Tuja personality, very often they test a doctor. They'll test doctor's intelligence. That is a typical Tuja. Kalkaraka person also, she will never reveal everything. But Phosphorus, so freely they will tell everything. He is highly communicative. He will furnish all the information. Phosphorus individual will come forward and sit in edges of the chair. They will be kneeling forward and listening what all things you are telling. They will 100% believe you. They look out every gesture of you. But only problem about Phosphorus is sometimes they'll exaggerate their symptoms. One more peculiar symptom I observed about Phosphorus is they'll inquire about you. Not only a patient-doctor relationship, there'll be more than that. Very often they'll ask, doctor, how are you? How is family? How is everyone at home? You're okay, you're fine. All these things, they are more concerned about you too. That is a typical Phosphorus personality. They believe in whatever you prescribe. They'll follow all the instructions you provide. They consider prescriber as a friend. They give symptoms freely without holding on. While leaving the clinic, very often they clasp both the hands with a warm gesture. They have warm regards for you. Just opposite of that, you might have seen many patients who will be coming to your clinic and they don't have any regards for the doctor. A patient like Lycopodium, you'll think he's the boss. Another Platina lady will come and she will sit in front of you with crossing the leg. She'll be sitting and looking at you as if you're a servant. That is a Platina. An Axomica person, he'll come to your clinic, is so hurried. He is so impatient. If the crowd is full, he can't wait. He'll just come in. That is Naxomica. That shows his irritability. Whereas Phosphorus is not at all like that. You will love your patient. You like your Phosphorus patient. So far, we saw only positive qualities of Phosphorus. Let us see some of the altered mental symptoms of Phosphorus too. They are the pathological mental symptoms of Phosphorus. At the advanced stage of problems, the enthusiastic, the excited stage gives to a place of lethargy. They become so lethargic They will have a difficulty to concentrate. They have inability to think. They'll go to a state of indifference. They'll become apathetic to the family members. They'll have a strained relationship when the pathology is advanced. They have indifference to the children, indifference to his own family, indifference to relation and surroundings. You need to compare that indifference. You need to compare fluoric acid. You need to compare phosphoric acid. You need to compare sepia. Phosphoric acid indifference only when you ask some question. Maybe in the state of high sugar level, they have indifference maybe associated with neurological pathology. Then you can think of phosphoric acid. We have sepia, they are basically indifferent individuals. From beginning of their life only they have that indifference towards the men sometime. She may not like men. Their indifference to the family due to various reasons. That is their sepia. Fluoric acid individual is the one, their indifference because they doesn't want to have family bond, taking care of wife, children. That he doesn't like. He need only gratification. That is fluoric acid. Whereas phosphorus is generally a nice person. Over a period of time, due to some incident in life, he become indifferent. He become apathy to the children, family. He become indifferent to the surroundings. He is unwilling to talk. His thinking pattern becomes so slowly. He moves sluggishly. Full of low-spirited. He becomes so sad and melancholic. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't want to study. This is only a mental state of phosphorus. A good-mannered person, who's a well-behaved person, will try to expose himself, will uncover his body parts, will expose his genitals like Alzheimer's. They have amativeness. He or she becomes so shameless. They'll have an amorous disposition. They'll destroy everything. Sometimes he'll spit at the others. A patient, he may kiss his nurse who comes near to him. He'll start crying and he may do involuntary laughing. All these are the mental state due to certain part of his life. Due to various reasons. This is called altered mental symptoms or pathological mental symptoms of phosphorus. We'll see some of the etiological factor of phosphorus. Element from mental exertion, element from strong emotions, element from music, element from strong odors, element from smell of the flowers like our Naxomika, element from sexual excess. They also get complaints from loss of vital fluids. They get complaints from lifting, spraining. They get complaints from thunderstorm. They get complaints from exposure to rain or getting wet in the rain. They get complaints after hemorrhage. They get complaints also from washing the clothes. Also complaints from haircut and complaints from tobacco. These are the few of the etiological factor of phosphorus for developing the complaints.